Let's switch this up. Get ready with me while I tell you why I got fired. Fired an hour ago. Literally an hour ago. So basically on Sunday, me and my coworker were working with each other, and I worked at a restaurant. And at this restaurant, I would put to-go orders together and basically be where people pick up their food. At my work in the afternoon, a girl comes in at 4 and then the next girl comes in at 5. Basically, my shift was scheduled for at 5 o'clock and my lovely coworker was scheduled for 4 o'clock. I pull into the lot and I see my coworker who was scheduled for 4 o'clock. Basically, I give my coworker a little honk, not thinking that she was late. Anyway, she goes, "Oh my God, Jalissa, you're supposed to be here at 4. I'm like, no, I wasn't. Basically, we both check our shifts in the parking lot and she was an hour late for work. Anyways, we go inside. She apologizes to the manager that night. He's literally fine with it. He's smiling at her, saying it's fine. Anyways, the night goes on. We continue on with our shift. And basically, we just had a meeting, like, all of our coworkers and the managers. And they talked to us about, like, being on our phones and stuff and, like, how we're not supposed to be on them and how we shouldn't have them out and being late, da-da-da-da. It's dead up and counter. There's nothing going on. No one's picking up their orders or anything. Basically, there's no one there, right? I have my phone out. It's literally in front of me like this, behind the computer, and no one was there. I wasn't even on it. I was kind of just like looking at it. The manager that night has caught me on my phone many times in the past, and he pops up out of nowhere, sees my phone, and goes, it's super upset at me. Basically, I'm like, no, like, I wasn't on my phone. And then I called him the wrong name. But that's not all. He gets super mad. He leaves. Right before my coworker leaves to go home, she puts in some food. We have the manager's card, which can access discounts and all of that, right? But something came over us. We decided to give both of us 100% discount. We decided to comp our food all the way. Anyways, my coworker has a card. She fully comps her food and then comps mine. And I was like, no, like, don't do mine. It's only like $9, you know, and I don't want to get in trouble. She goes, I'm not doing this alone. Comps my food. We start to freak the fuck out because we close the order. We can't open it again unless a manager does it, and we don't know how. We go home. The next day, which was yesterday, one of our managers text us both, and they're like, can you come in tomorrow at whatever. Today, we both met up in the parking lot at 4 and then went in together. We both thought it would be about us completely comping our orders and making it free. It was not about that. It wasn't even close. Sit down with both of our managers. We're gonna call one of them Jessica and the other one Christina. Jessica starts off the conversation by saying, so Sunday night when you guys were both working, a customer overheard you guys having a conversation. And the amount of relief that we had knowing that it wasn't about the orders that we comped gives us a little look as if we're supposed to know what she's talking about. And she goes, do you know what I'm talking about? And we're like, no. She goes, the conversation that you guys were having was very, very inappropriate. And we're like, what? Worker also overheard it. Saying me and my coworker were talking about being fucked in the ass. Like, what? And we kind of looked at her. We were like, what? Like, what are you even talking about right now? And like, we both looked at each other and we're like, and she was like, do you guys know what I'm talking about? And we're like, no. And she asked us again. She goes, do you know what I'm talking about? And we're like, no. And she was like, well, did you guys have any conversations that could be interpreted like that? Because isn't that strange that you guys are saying that you guys didn't talk about that, but a customer and a coworker said that they heard you talking about that? And I was like, yeah, that is really weird because we never talked about that. Anyways, they obviously didn't believe us, which I wouldn't really expect them to, because if 2 people are saying that they heard it, then, you know what I mean? Like, what? She starts going on by saying, well, like, were you talking about your boyfriends? Like, what were you talking about? And we're like, I mean, yeah, like, we did talk about our boyfriends a little bit, but we weren't talking about our sex lives. And I was kind of just like, what the fuck? You know, like, what? But I was kind of just like, bro, no way I'm about to get in trouble for something that I didn't even do. They tell the both of us that they want to talk to us individually, so I go downstairs while they talk to my coworker, and then she comes back down. She goes, oh my god, they didn't fire me. And I'm like, oh, that's so good. Like, that's so good. Like, they're probably not gonna fire me, right? I was wrong. Yeah, I was wrong. I go upstairs, I start talking to them. The first thing that my manager, Christina, says as I sit down is, you know, this was a very hard decision for us to make. I literally knew then and there, okay, they're gonna fire me, but they're not gonna fire her, right? Anyway, she starts talking to me. She goes, you know, it's just, you know, the first incident and then now this. And I go, this as in being on my phone? Because I didn't say anything, so why would I get fired over a false accusation? And the first thing that she said that she was like referring to, that's for another time. That was a whole other situation. Basically, they fired me then and there. They handed me my last paycheck and had me sign whatever paper. I'm not really sad about it. I'm more just annoyed. But yeah, that's it. Bye, guys.
One of my biggest fears, unfortunately, became a reality. Get ready with me, story time. Over 5 years ago, I actually used to work at a grocery store in my city. At this job, I first started off as a grocery bagger, and then I moved my way up to be a GM, which is a general merchandiser. So I basically restock products, and then I shortly made my way to becoming a clerk, which is another word or term for cashier. I do want to mention, when I became a clerk or a cashier, I was working at that job for maybe like a year. I was about to hit like a year. In my opinion, when you work at a grocery store or somewhere where you're helping out customers, kind of start to get a feel of who your regular customers are. It was a weekday and I was working in the afternoon, and this guy came in my line. And again, remember I said I do recognize regulars? Well, I just knew that this guy wasn't a regular. At least I had never seen him. So this older man comes into my line, and in my opinion, he's one of those guys that if I were to see out on the streets, I would probably like turn the other way. Not even like that I'm judging the way he looks. It's just like the way he was like looking at me, like it was an evil look, if that makes sense. Like it was scary. Like me being alone and I see that, I'm running the other way. This man is next in my line. He had one item. He asked me like the most like random question. He was like, hey, do you know where this item is? And I was just like, oh, it's like right behind you. I don't know, it was just like weird. It's like he knew, but he still wanted to ask me. And then the second weird question that he asked me was, what is my name? And if you work at a grocery store, you're always gonna have a name badge, so it was just weird that he asked me for my name. I do understand if you know you want to get to know me and you are a regular, you're gonna become a regular at the store, you kind of just want to have a conversation. But the way he asked me for my name wasn't just like a normal conversation. It was kind of like, oh, I want to investigate you, who are you, one of those type of, you know, conversations. Kind of just let it be, and I was like, all right, Ash, just move on, just scan his order and get him out of here. He was the type of like customer where he would just like look at you, scan his order, like he would just like stare you down. And personally, when I go to a grocery store, I don't even like look at the cashier. If I do, I'll like glance at her, but nothing where I'm like staring at her, you know, like creeping her out. Anyway, so that guy leaves, and then later on in the night, I think I was working like a 12 to 9, and I remember this guy came around like 9 o'clock, almost time for like me to clock out. And one of the girls comes up to me and says, hey, like there's this guy, he's looking for you. And I was like, who? Like, do I know who he is? And she was like, I'm not sure, but like he was describing somebody and the only person that fits the description is you. And I was like, that's a little bit weird. Also, I do want to mention that I was in the break room at this time when she told me that this guy was like looking for me. Me being me, I was like, who's this person? I want to go see who it is. But I'm a very observant person. I'm also a very like paranoid person, so I was being sneaky about it. I would kind of just like peek a little bit, or I would go up to like the office and I would kind of try to see from the office out to the store. Sure enough, when I spot this man, I was like, dude, there's no way this is the guy that I had the weird encounter with earlier in the day. Okay, like that's weird. Why is he asking for me? Like, I'm not getting good vibes off of him. I felt very uncomfortable, and I feel like one of like my biggest fears is always like having a stalker. I feel like that's just any girl's fear, is having a stalker, right? I refused to go back out on the floor, and he ended up leaving. And tell me why the next day he comes back and I'm at the register, and one of the girls comes up to me and she was like, hey, like, I think that guy is back. I recognize his car. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, that guy who asked about you, he was like, I don't think he's walked in. Have you seen him? And I was like, no, I haven't seen him yet. Why? She's like, okay, I'm gonna switch spots with you. You go hide. And I was like, oh my God, like, there's no way this is my reality right now. So thankfully she let me out of the register. I ended up going in the very back to like the milk box area, and there's also a medicine room. So I literally hid in the medicine room, and I was like, bro, there's like no way that I have a stalker right now. Like, what in the actual fuck? Before my coworker actually let me out, she told me to stay nearby the back phone in case he leaves, that way I can come back out. And I was like, okay, cool. So I remember she ended up calling the phone, and I answered, and she was like, hey, like, this guy's looking for you again. And I was like, are you serious? And she was like, yeah, like, he's looking for you, and I don't feel like he's looking for you for a good reason. It's like, because it's been an hour and he's still in the store and he still hasn't bought anything. She was like, usually if you're gonna be in the store for this long, you at least have a cart full of groceries. I'm gonna probably have to wait until after closing for this like man to leave, or until I'm able to leave. So to keep my mind busy, I ended up leaving the medicine room and I went to the milk box, which honestly is still in the back, but when it's in this corner and the milk box is on the other side. And so I just started filling up milk because I was like, if I'm gonna be back here, let me at least help the closer out. I'm filling the milk up, and I just see like a hand right there, like grabbing milk or faking that he's gonna grab a milk. And I was like, bro, there's no way this is my stalker. And so I look, and sure enough, it was him. And I was like, oh, hell no. So I literally left the milk box area and I went back to the medicine cabinet or the medicine room. And I just stood there. I was really hiding in between boxes. I think I even have a Snapchat. I might insert it if I do find it, of me literally hiding in the milk box. I was like, bro, I can't believe this is my reality right now. But at this point, it was already closing time, and we closed the grocery store at 11 o'clock. I was supposed to clock out at 9 o'clock, and tell me why I did not leave the grocery store until almost 12 in the morning. I left that late because this man's car was still in the parking lot. He had one of those car vehicles where, like, you know, when somebody passes away, they have like that certain type of vehicle they put like the casket in and the person in. Yeah, he had one of those. Yeah, when I seen that he had that type of car, I was like, oh hell, I'm not about to walk out, and the last thing I need is for him to know what kind of car I drive. This guy finally leaves, and then I end up leaving as well. As I'm on my way home, I decided that I wanted to go to the gym, and the gym to my job was only like 3 minutes away. It was over the bridge. I walked into the gym and I went to the squat rack, and tell me why I seen my stalker at the gym. Welcome to part 2 of the time I had a stalker. If you have not watched part 1, I highly recommend you to go watch that video first. That way you guys can get a clear understanding of what exactly is going on. But let's get started. At this point, I am at the gym, and I did arrive to the gym. I made sure that that specific car wasn't there. I did see in the comments you guys left that he drives a hearse. Yes, he does drive a hearse. That's the type of car that he drove. I just couldn't think of the name at the moment when I was saying the story time. I would drop a picture right here of what that car looks like. So imagine having a stalker and he drives this. Of course you would be creeped out like I was. I didn't see his car at the parking lot of the gym, and neither the shopping center, so I ended up getting down. I thought the coast was clear. Keep in mind, at this point, it was roughly 12:30 in the morning, and I was just going about my night. I just went through this situation. Let me at least go to the gym so I can let all of this out. The gym has always been my safe spot, so that is the place that I ran to. Particular night, I was doing legs. I make my way to the squat rack, and then after the squat rack, I ended up going to like the back extensions, and the back extensions at this gym was in this corner, whereas the squat rack was on this side. So I kind of made my way to the other side. I was about to do the back extensions. I freaking see my stalker, and him and I made eye contact, and I was like, dude, there's absolutely no way that this man is at the gym. First of all, I've never even seen him at the gym. I usually go at different times, so I just knew that if this guy was a regular at the gym, then I would have recognized him already. And because I knew that he was already stalking me and constantly asking for me, I just knew that he wasn't at the gym to work out. I need to stop working out, and I need to make a plan. I ended up leaving the back extension machine thingy, and then I ended up grabbing some dumbbells. I'm gonna go to the mirror and see what his next move is. I also wasn't doing full sets. I was doing squats. After I was done with that, I noticed that he ended up grabbing the 5-pound weights and he ended up going to like a section nearby me, but still a little bit distant. Let me do one more set and then I'm going to leave. So I did one more set of those squats, and then I remember I ended up leaving to the Stairmaster. And tell me why. He only did literally like one set, and then he ended up putting his 5-pound weights away, and then he was done. Why is it that whenever I'm done with my reps, he's suddenly done too, and he just started? Like, okay, I'm putting 2 and 2 together that he's actually here for me. I also feel like what gave it away was the fact that him and I made eye contact more than 3 times at the gym. And usually I don't make eye contact with anybody at the gym. Everyone just kind of minds their business. So the fact that this man just kept staring at me and was finishing reps whenever I was finishing reps, like, dude, if I were to start a set and I would be done with it, suddenly he would be done with it too, and he had just started. Like, it just made absolutely no sense. So like I said, I ended up going to the Stairmaster. I'm at least going to be here for maybe like 2 minutes, and let's see what his next move is. So sure enough, this man goes to the little bicycle, and I was like, are you serious? Like, this man just started this other new set, and now he put his stuff down because he didn't want to lose me, and he went to the bicycle, which is literally like nearby the Stairmaster. So the Stairmaster is right here, and then maybe I would say the bicycle like machine is like 10 feet away. So he was still nearby me. Basically told myself, I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay on this machine for at least 5 extra minutes and let's see what he does. He ended up leaving. I honestly lost track that I had a stalker. I was just so in tune with my workout because of everything that was going on. I just kind of wanted to zone everything out, which is my fault, but also too, it's just like, damn, I don't want to let this man control my life. So I stopped paying attention to him, and of course, because I didn't pay attention to him anymore, I lost him. I don't see him anymore. Maybe he left. Let me go to the restroom. And so after I was done, I went to the restroom. Before I go to the restroom, I'm gonna have my phone out and I'm gonna be recording. So I'm gonna walk and have my phone out like this. If he's actually in the restroom, my recording will dictate and determine if he was actually there for me. I'm going to the restroom, not knowing that he's there, but I'm just assuming at this point that he's at the restroom because he obviously was nowhere to be found in this building. And so I'm walking to the restroom, and I swear to you, he's walking out of the restroom and I'm walking inside of like the little lobby, and I was like, oh my god, like, please. Continue walking into the girls' restroom / locker room, but this time when I spotted him, I made sure that I was looking down. So especially because I knew that I was recording, so whatever I didn't see, my phone was going to capture. Tell me why I go into the restroom, I replay the video, and this man is walking out and just staring at me. Like, he made eye contact with my phone camera. I'm gonna try to enter the clip if I do have the video, but it was so scary. I was like, okay, at this point, it just confirmed to me that he is here for me, because this man was like just staring at my camera for like 10 plus seconds until I'm walking in and he's walking out. And again, if I'm going to the gym and I make eye contact with someone, I'm gonna just make eye contact with someone and then I'm gonna look away. I'm not gonna just stare at them. At this point, I'm paranoid as hell. And I feel like the craziest part and the most scariest part to me was the fact that I didn't see his car. So where the heck did he park? Come to find out, he ended up parking like on the side, like on the corner. Like, there wasn't even a parking spot over there, but he ended up parking over there. So obviously I wasn't gonna see his car. I ended up staying in the restroom for 20 minutes, and then I finally walked out because I was like, dude, I have to go home. Like, there's no way I'm gonna stay the whole night at the gym. And so I grew some balls, I walked out, and then I went straight to the front desk, and thankfully there was a guy at the front desk, and I basically told him, I was like, hey, did some old guy walk out? He looks like this. And he said, yeah, he walked out maybe 20 minutes ago. And I was like, okay, perfect. Do you mind seeing if this specific car is outside, or if you see him, because I think he's my stalker. He was like, if you want, I can walk you to your car. You can just chill here for a little bit. So he went to go check outside. His car wasn't there. And then I ended up just staying at the gym for another like 10 minutes. And then he offered, he was like, do you want me to walk you to your car? Like, I'll make sure you're in your car and you're actually driving off. And I was like, yeah, that'll mean a lot to me. So thankfully he did that. W to him, because he saved my day. And then I just ended up going home. I took the freeway. I did continue going to work because the person that I am, I was like, there's no way that I'm gonna let this man know that I'm scared of him. But since that incident, I honestly stopped seeing him. Never see his car there. So I don't know if they ended up telling him something at my job, or he just kind of noticed that I wasn't there anymore. I feel like also the main reason he kind of assumed that I stopped working there was because they ended up switching me to a morning shift, so I really wasn't there in the afternoon. There was one time where I was working in the morning, I seen his car at the parking lot, and if I see his car there, for the most part, like a lot of my coworkers already knew, my managers already knew, so whenever they would see his car, they would just tell me, Ash, go to the back. So again, if he were to walk in, he would never see me. After, I just ended up quitting because I got a better job opportunity, so I really haven't seen him. I did see a comment, people were asking me if I worked at Stater Brothers. Yes, it was the Stater Brothers. Now that specific Stater Brothers is closed, I honestly never seen this man ever again. One, I'm never really around that side of town anymore, and two, I remember when I quit, I still went to shop at that Stater Brothers, and a lot of my coworkers would tell me that he just never came anymore. So I feel like he kind of just left, and I don't know what he did or where he's at or if he's still alive, but I'm glad that I don't have him as my stalker. So I did see a question when someone said, why didn't you report it to security or to the police? I feel like nowadays you have to just have so much evidence for a police. Like, I did tell the police and he was like, oh, that's just not enough evidence. Police nowadays just take action when something actually happens versus when you're kind of warning them and giving them a heads up that this situation is going on. So police never did anything about it. Security, they don't really take their job seriously. My managers couldn't really do anything, but they did know about the situation. They were definitely on my side. They were keeping me safe. But again, like, if police couldn't do anything about it, what really can my managers do other than the fact that they would take me out of the register or tell me to go hide? So they did do their part, which I'm super grateful for. That is the end of my story time of the time that I had a stalker, unfortunately.
Tell me why I was followed home from the gas station today. This is exactly why. I don't like going to gas stations. I said it once and I'm gonna say it again. It's so hard being a girl. And the sad part is, this isn't even the first time this has happened to me. So I go to the gas station, right? Because I had no fucking gas in my car. I literally try to prolong going to the gas station by waiting until my tank literally gets on E till I go to the fucking gas. That's how bad I fucking hate going to a gas station. And don't get me started on this isn't my shade. I know it's not. I just don't like wasting makeup. So we're making a concoction. Okay, I look fucking crazy. Let's blend it. Like I said, I'm getting gas, right? So I'm sitting there pumping my gas like the strong, independent baddie I am. Doing a man's job yet again. Then this fucking loser comes up to me talking about, too pretty to be pumping your own gas. I know. So why aren't you pumping my gas? As a matter of fact, why aren't you paying for it? If I'm so pretty. I obviously didn't say that because, bitch, I'm a fucking girl by myself at a gas station. Like, I don't have a death wish. But I don't say anything to him. I just do the little smile and wave. Because I'm not trying to have no conversation with anybody at a gas station. Then this man proceeds to try to talk to me. He's like, you got a man? And I don't say anything to him because, bitch, this is not the time or the place to be trying to pick up on a girl. Like, I'm scared. Then this man just does something hella fucking extra. Like, why did he pull up next to me and fucking honk? It was never that serious. So now this man is honking at me and yelling at me, talking about some, hey, I bet you can hear me now. Like, at this point, bitch, I wish I couldn't fucking hear you. I'm just over getting the gas because this is embarrassing. It's ghetto. I don't want to be a part of it. So I get into my car and I start driving to my house. Before y'all say, why the fuck did you drive home? Bitch, I didn't know this man was following me. So I pull into my driveway, not even realizing that this man is parked at the end of my driveway. He's parked at the end of my driveway just waiting. And then I realize that same man from the gas station is walking up to my car. And I'm just sitting there fucking frozen like, what the fuck do I do? I did the one thing I knew was gonna get me out of trouble. I called my dad. Y'all don't understand how blessed I am. My dad lives right next door to me. Literally next door to me. That man chose the wrong house to follow a girl home to. So I call my dad and I'm on the phone with him. I'm like, Dad, this guy followed me home from the gas station. He's literally in our fucking driveway. Like, come kick some fucking ass. My dad comes out and scares the fuck out of this man. He's like, do we have a problem? This man came up with a lie quick. He said, oh, I thought this was my friend's house. My dad's like, no, don't lie. You try to follow my daughter home from the gas station. Do we have a problem? Before the guy could even answer, my dad's like, I know we don't have a problem. And it would be a shame if I had to protect myself because someone is trespassing on my property. And I'm just sitting in my car like, get him, Dad. And that man literally turned around and ran back to his car. Like, when I say ran, he like fucking sprinted, bitch. But yeah, stay safe out here in these streets, ladies. And make sure that when you're out and about, there's not a creepy man following you. And before you bitches ask, I'm using Too Faced Lip Injection Lip Liner in shade Truffle, paired with a clear lip gloss. Thanks for listening. Toodles.
Hey guys, get ready with me, but while I tell you what happened today. Okay, so pretty much last night, it was like 3 a.m. and I was like scrolling on TikTok and I just wanted to go see like if my boyfriend had like reposted something, and then I saw he like followed someone, and we like don't follow we don't follow other people on TikTok. Like, we only follow each other that are like males and females. and he just followed some random girl, and it was like, wow, I was at the gym at 12 a.m. So I was like, oh, okay. So then for the rest of the night, I was overthinking it and like bawling my eyes out because I was really upset. And I like ended up getting, I think, 2 hours of sleep. And he woke up at 6:45 this morning, and he like had finally seen it, and then he was like, I accidentally followed her, blah 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 this. And he told me that, I'm not going to go fully into detail, but he was just saying that it was his friend's talking stage. But he had like followed her on Instagram. He didn't, I don't know if he did it last night, but he follows her on there. But yeah, and then because I was overthinking it even more because I was mad at him pretty much the rest of the day, I was like, send me your friends list. And then, because like this happened a couple weeks ago, and he asked me for mine, so I sent mine because he was overthinking it, and I could tell he was. He didn't ask for it, but I still sent my friends list just because I didn't want him to overthink. And like, that's just the type of person I am. So then for 30 minutes I was like, okay, send me your friends list, just because like I was like really in my head about it. And normally I'm like not the type of person to be in my head, but I also just don't really like date people or like be in talking stages with people, because like people are rough nowadays. But anyways, so after 30 minutes of like saying, okay, send it to me, he like sends it. I was the only person on the friends list, but he says he just like doesn't snap a bunch of people. So yeah, I believe him though. But that's how my morning was, so like I'm running off no sleep. But yeah, I'm excited though because tomorrow I'm gonna go see my sister-in-law. Like literally can't wait because I just want to go see my niece and nephew and her. And then I'm gonna show you guys this outfit. I was gonna post Instagram pictures, but it's like 6 o'clock because it snowed in Texas today, and it's like really pretty out, and I was gonna do some cute little Insta pics, but it's like too dark out now. Should have done it earlier. I just wasn't really thinking about it. Okay, another thing I've been doing lately is like I've been making my nose like really pink, and I've been really liking it. I don't know why. I don't even know why I'm getting ready at this point because it's already like so late in my day. But like, yeah, I've been up for so long. Like, I don't even know. I feel like my whole day's been just like a blur. Yeah, that's pretty much how my day has been. So, it's been fun. But I knew if I just put makeup on, I would feel a ton better. Just because like makeup always makes you feel better. And if you look good, you'll feel good. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. Okay, that is all. Thanks for watching.
Story time on how me and my ex-best friend aren't friends anymore. You might want to grab a snack and sit down because this is going to be a lot. By the way, this is no hate whatsoever towards her. I do hope for the best for her. Just for some background, this has happened before in our friendship. A situation kind of like this that caused a huge breakup before. Also, she does go to a different school than me. She goes to my sister's school. She's like a grade younger. Anyway, so starting off, our whole friendship was like sideways. There was always something going on. Certain situations like friendships, boyfriends, school, anything like that, it was always, you know. In the past, she has broken up me and my ex-boyfriend out of a whole lie, and it was just a really big situation. I mean, in the end, we did break up. And throughout that period of time, she hated him. She didn't like me being with him. She would get upset if I hung out with him, even though I spent literally every single weekend with her. She just broke us up because she didn't want us together. So that should give you a little bit of background on this situation. So this starts off and I'm sitting in class. I get a phone call from this girl and she's telling me, did you see this account? I was absolutely confused. I was like, what account are you talking about? She told me, you know, the secret account that Rain has. Rain is the code name for my ex-best friend. I was like, absolutely not. Let me see this account. So she shows me it, and mind you, there's a whole bunch of girls by this girl and they're all like talking about it. So she shows me it, and it's literally a whole bunch of videos about me, and the videos are a whole bunch of lies, and majority of those videos are based on me and my current boyfriend.
Mind you, she'd always tell me, I hate your current boyfriend, and she'd sit there and make fun of him and say all these things about him when she knew I didn't feel comfortable with that and I didn't like it one bit. She just thought it was a big joke and she could say whatever she wants because she was my best friend at the time. Anyways, it was a whole bunch of videos bashing me, a whole bunch of lies. It was misleading lies about me personally and me and my boyfriend, and the whole reason for these videos was to get a hint of fame. You know how people make those accounts, those secret accounts, and try to blow up on them? That's exactly what she did, yet she used me, her best friend, to slander for fame. As I was looking through these, I'm not kidding you, my heart dropped and I started bawling. I was so confused on what this was even for. I was so confused because there was nothing going on at all. The entire time she was secretly having an account, blocked me and everybody that's related towards me, like friends, family, blocked. And she's sitting here bashing me for fame. And I just like to point out, at the time, she was slowly replacing me with a girl that she would talk insane things about. Like this girl, she would always be talking bad about her, and I didn't know it yet that she was replacing me until later on. Anyways, after I see all those videos, my first resort was to text her. So I sent her a really big paragraph and I made it the most respectful as possible, and I was heartbroken. I was devastated because my best friend of almost 3 years is sitting on social media bashing me for fame and making a whole bunch of lies about me just for fame. So when I texted her, she responded hours later, ignoring the whole paragraph and saying, yeah, we can talk later. We never talked later. And it's been weeks. And after I did send her that paragraph, I did notice she made another video about me. I was just so lost. I was confused on what I did in the first place. I did absolutely nothing but be there for her and comfort her, and I was a really good friend to her. And behind my back, she's sitting here and doing all of this. She has chosen her boyfriend and this girl that she was replacing me with, and I didn't think much of it. So weeks go by and she's still talking bad about me, which I still have no idea for what reason. And meanwhile, during that time, her boyfriend is sitting there bullying my little sister at school. And on the lines of that, the girl that she was replacing me with the entire friendship, as soon as we stopped being friends, they were immediately best friends. They were together 24/7, doing the exact same things that me and her would do. So it shows how easily replaced I was. I don't know if this whole thing is based off of jealousy or what. I honestly am still confused to this day. I have no idea what caused this or what has happened. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. I love you guys so much. Bye.
This is a story to all the girls who are always nice and kind to the weird kid in class or that weird guy in the corner who's a loner. Be careful, because I learned my lesson the hard way. In undergrad, I really wanted to go to med school, and to be able to go to med school, you need to publish like a few papers or at least have some type of research experience. So I asked my biology professor to join his lab, to which he accepted. Great. And then my biology professor introduced me to another kid who was a couple years older than me at the time. We're just going to call him Adam. He was supposed to be my research mentor, and he's supposed to teach me everything that I know. And Adam, literally just imagine your typical skinny, nerdy Asian kid. But for some reason, he thought he was the hottest shit in the world. He would keep saying weird stuff like, oh, all the girls in OChem want me. And I would be like, what do you mean they want you? Like, they probably want you to help them with OChem, because he was actually very smart, very intelligent, but he'll be like, no, they want me because I'm so hot. And I'm just like Adam, like, chill. Also, this kid has no friends, so I felt obligated to kind of be his friend, and he basically confided in me with everything. Then he started purposely scheduling our experiments so we would have to come into lab from like 9 p.m. to 2 to 3 in the morning. Usually with research, protocols can take a really long time, but you can time it out. Most people can come in from like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the latest, but he was purposely wanting me and him to come into lab in the middle of the night. And that was really sketchy because I did it a couple of times. I convinced him and said, listen, I can't come in to lab in the middle of the night anymore. If that's what you want to do, you can do that by yourself, but let's time our lab better so we only have to work during the day. I basically brushed it off, didn't think about it. We only do our research during the day. This part is really important. He started talking to me about this girl that he's seeing. We're just gonna call her Bella. He asked her out on a date, and then months passed by, they started dating, and he would always come into lab and ask me like advice, like on where to take her out on dates, what they did that weekend. A new semester started. At this point, it's been like a year of him talking about Bella. I started my neurology class, to which I sat across from this girl who was very familiar, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's Bella, because Adam had showed me pictures of Bella, so I knew what she looked like. So I went up to Bella and I was like, hi, like, I'm Mukta, I'm Adam's lab mate. She was really scared and she was like, how do you know me? How do you know what I look like? How do you know my name? Your boyfriend told me about you. Like, you guys have been dating for a year. I've heard so much about you. And she was like, Adam is not my boyfriend. Part 2, because I'm running out of time. And it gets worse. This is part 2 of how I found out my research mentor was a stalker. If you haven't seen part 1, check that one out first. Before, I've always known that Adam was a little off just because of the things that he says in lab. For example, we got in an argument one time because he just kept talking about himself so much and that other girls really find him attractive. So he gave me some examples that if he's sitting in a class and a girl's pupils are dilated, to him that means she is interested in him. Or if the girl is wearing glasses, I wear glasses, and she keeps pushing her glasses back up her nose, you're signaling to him that you're interested in him. Another signal was if a girl puts her hair behind her ear in class. Just little signals like that, that to him it means a girl is interested in him, which is an insane interpretation. But anyways, we got into it and I happened to wear glasses and I straight up told him, if I wear glasses to lab and I'm pushing my glasses up my nose, it doesn't mean that I'm interested in him at all. It just means my glasses are falling down my nose. Or if I put my hair behind my ear, that means I just want my hair out of my freaking face. Backtrack to me meeting Bella in neurology, to which she said that she never went out on one single date with Adam. Her and Adam were never anything. Adam messaged her on Instagram asking her out for a coffee date, to which she either said no or she left him on red. So basically he made up the whole story of them dating for the whole entire year, every single date, every single conversation, and how they were in love. He just made that whole thing up. Turns out Adam was actually stalking her. She showed me screenshots of the messages that he had sent her like over and over and over, and it was something like, why don't you want to be with me? Like, one day we're going to be together again. Like, our love is too powerful. And another message that was really alarming was, I'll wait for you until one of us dies, or something like that. Bella had also told me that somehow he would figure out her schedule and he would sign up for the same exact classes as her so he would see her in class. And she also fell into a deep episode of depression where she was always paranoid and felt like someone was watching her all the time. Bella usually walks to campus because she lives in University Hill, so she would walk to campus, and every single walk she would feel like someone was following her or someone was watching her. With stalking cases, you can't really report it to the police unless you have solid evidence. So unless the stalker try to break contact, like either showing up at your work or try to break into your house, there's really not much they can do. I think she did try to report it to the police of all of her Instagram messages. She would block an account and then he would make another account and message her and saying all these crazy things until he broke into her house, but it actually wasn't her house. Until he broke into her house, but it actually wasn't her house. It was two random girls' house. Both of the girls had no relationship to Bella or Adam. The girls called the cops. The cops came to arrest him, to which Adam said that this is Bella's house because, quote unquote, he could recognize the sound of her wavelength. Yeah, he got arrested. He went to jail for a little bit, but his family is wealthy, so they bailed him out. The cops thought that his behavior was so weird that they found out who Bella was, tracked Bella down, told Bella about the whole thing that happened, and also told the campus police. And that situation alone was enough for Bella to get a restraining order against Adam. So from then on, Adam was pulled out of all of Bella's classes and he has to change his whole entire schedule. After that, I quit lab immediately. Bella told me that she even thought about transferring or moving out, but we were so close to graduation that it's not worth it for her to just pack her things and leave. And she was going to leave Colorado once we graduated. Until one day, I was waiting for the bus and Adam came up to me and said hi. Just made like a small talk, like, oh hey, how's it going? Just to be nice. And I was like, do you still want to go to med school? And he was like, no, I don't. I think if I became a doctor, I would want to kill my patients. I didn't know what what to say. I'm like, oh, it's a good thing you're not going to become a doctor. So I texted my friend, hey, you need to call me right now and pretend to be on the phone with me. And my friend called me. I pretended to be on the phone. I was like, sorry, excuse me, my friend called, stepped away. That was the only encounter that we had for a while. Probably like 8 months to a year after that, he randomly texted me, going out on a date, which pants should I wear? And sent me like 2 selfies of him wearing 2 different colored pants. Also, I don't know who the new girl is, so I couldn't text her or warn her, but he moved on to his next victim, I guess.
3 years ago, I almost pulled over on the side of the road for a murderer. I did a story time when this all happened, but there's an important lesson to be learned, so I'm gonna say it again. I was either a sophomore or junior in high school, and I was driving home from my friend Sophie's house at like 11 in the morning after sleeping over there. I was driving straight on this road, and I was on the right side, as one should be, and there was a car in the ditch, also on the right side, but facing me. I kept driving like another 40 yards, and then there was another car in the ditch facing me on the right side of the road. I was just like, what the heck? That's so weird, because they were definitely too far apart to have collided, and they looked like separate from each other. I kept driving a little bit, but at a much slower pace, and I saw some guy, like older man, probably like 60s or something, waving his hands, like looked like he was trying to get help, like waving people down, and I was like, oh my goodness, should I stop? I kept driving, and I was like, you know, I'm a 16-year-old girl. I really can't help. Maybe I can call 911. But if I get out and help, there's really nothing I can do specifically to help the situation. But then I was home like 5 to 10 minutes later, and I just went on with my day. I told my parents, like I called them the rest of the ride home and told them what happened, so they knew what happened. But then like 2 hours later, my mom had found out that the news was reporting on it. Apparently, some crazy man was intentionally driving his car on the opposite side of the road, running into cars, trying to intentionally crash into them and kill them. That's why there were so many cars on the opposite side of the road facing the wrong way. Then my mom got a text from her friend who lives in a neighborhood really close to where this all happened, and it's a video of the interaction between the police and the guy who was responsible for trying to crash into these people. Turns out the guy in the video was the guy waving me down, trying to look like he was asking for help. Apparently he was trying to get more people to stop so he could hurt people, and he was like swinging this big piece of wood at people, and then in the video he's swinging it at the police officer. I don't believe anybody died, because the people whose cars I saw on the opposite side of the road were on that side of the road because they dodged him, I guess. And then once they realized he was crazy, they like ran away and the cops came. It was so scary though, because in the video, the police officer was like telling him to stop swinging, and he just keeps walking towards the officer, swinging the piece of wood, walking towards him, looking like a zombie. He's like waddling over towards him. I don't know what I can say on TikTok, but the police officer puts his pew pew up and is like yelling at him to stop, and the guy's not stopping, and he's walking closer and closer, starts swinging the wood at him. And so then to try and get him to like stop, the police officer like shoots at like his legs, like body parts, to get him to like stop moving towards him but not kill him. And it was the most bizarre thing. He's like shooting at his limbs and his legs, and the guy is like not stopping. He's like moving towards him like a zombie. It was like he couldn't even feel the shot. And he was like getting more aggressive and swinging the piece of wood at the officer, and the officer ended up shooting him. He finally like fell to the floor. Watching the video was the weirdest experience ever, because I'd never seen something like that, like not on TV, like actually in real life, having seen that man in person before. So while you might feel guilty not stopping in a situation like that, this is your sign not to. Every time I drive by the intersection where it happened, I think about it. Never stop. Just call 911. Don't be the one to stop.